What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. The market bounced. Russia's basically withdrawing troops. Things are starting to look good again in that area. It doesn't look like there's going to be an immediate war happening on Wednesday, which is why the market essentially bounced really heavily. So in today's video, we're going to go over the SPY, the NASDAQ, the IWM, the 30-year bonds, the crypto market, and all that good stuff. We're going to talk about what the next steps are, and we're also going to try something new. We're going to start taking all of the data that we get from these indicators that I talk about, put it on a spreadsheet, and see if things play out based on the bullishness or the bearishness of the overall market. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the video. All right, so here's a chart of the SPY. Very clearly, this is a very bullish close overall. We had a huge reversal yesterday, and we closed today above major levels of resistance here, above 445.50, as well as the 20 exponential moving average. So overall, very good bullish move. Basically, all of the bearishness was baked into the market based off of an impending Russian invasion have basically subsided. So now, moving forward, the next levels of resistance on the SPY are going to be 447, and then the close, the open of this candle at approximately 449.50, and then we're back to these two 450.37 levels, and then 451.16. And also on Twitter, I post all of my trades live, completely for free, and we're swinging some Apple and IWM calls. Also, an honorable mention, got into some April Facebook calls. So overall, it would be insane not to be bullish overnight. So with the entire market super bullish, makes no sense to go short. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So overall, the SPY looks very bullish. You can see that the MACD is going down, or sorry, the MACD is basically looking very bullish as well. It's going down here. You can see that this blue level right here, you can see yesterday the MACD line was at negative 6.08, and today it's at negative 6.47. So again, when the MACD is falling lower, yet the price of the security is rising, that's very bullish. So also another thing, the RSI is moving upwards as well. So that is also really bullish. The fact that we closed above resistance, super bullish as well. So now just purely based off of that, basically just making a very simple spreadsheet for now. We're going to track the SPY, the NASDAQ, the IWM, Bitcoin, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Tesla. And we're going to track the MACDs, the RSIs, and whether or not we closed above major levels of resistance or below support or below levels of resistance. Basically, we're going to track the bullishness and bearishness of the close of the candle itself. So the SPY, bullish MACD, bullish RSI, and bullish close. So all three of these things are bullish. So there's that. And we're going to just continue monitoring these things. I'm going to add, I guess, like positions that we're holding overnight, whether we're not holding positions, and then I'm just gonna make this document like available for you guys. I'm gonna add the dates, all that good stuff. But yeah, I think this would be a really interesting way of adding to some analysis with like data, right? So that would be pretty cool. So yeah, there's that for the SPY. Let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM. The IWM, the MACD looks extremely bullish here. This was a huge green close, and the MACD is barely moving upwards, which is a very good sign. The RSI, you can clearly see it's sharply moving upwards, obviously, right? That's fine. And the main level of resistance that we needed to close above was around 205. We clearly closed above 205. We closed at 206.06. And now the major level of resistance that we're going to have to close above, it would have been nice if we closed above today, would have been 206.30. But tomorrow, the level of support, essentially, so to maintain this uptrend, right? The level that we need to close above for tomorrow is going to be approximately 206.30 to 206.40, all right? And we can see here now the Bollinger Band is starting to really squeeze on all of the major indices. On the SPY, it was not squeezing as much, but things are starting to get tighter, right? But then the IWM is very dramatically much closer, right? So again, usually when this happens, it's a good chance for an explosive move to either the upside or the downside. So with a potential explosive move to the upside, with us closing above the uptrend that we created from these January 28th bottoms, it's a very logical reason to go long overnight, in my opinion. So that's why we're holding on to IWM calls as well. As well as the fact that the RSI looks bullish, the MACD looks extremely strong. And the one caveat, I don't really consider this a failure of closing above resistance, because we reclaimed this uptrend level and we opened up down at like 202, right? So the fact that we came and reclaimed back above 205, super bullish. So overall, all three of these are going to be bullish as well for the IWM. And there's that, really. So I guess we could go ahead and take a look at the large tech stocks, because we're also swinging Apple and Facebook. So the large tech stocks, the 30-year bond, and the NASDAQ, right? Apple, $1 trillion company. You can see that the MACD, all right, first of all, huge green close, all right? We closed back above this very important resistance. We closed above the prior, from February 11th, the prior open, and super bullish. All right, so the MACD, super bullish. It's still flat. It hasn't even crossed above yet, which means that there's still tons more room to the upside. The RSI is already showing the strength, yet the MACD still has yet to show the strength to the upside, which is amazing. All right, so the next levels for Apple are going to be this open here at approximately 174, and then 175.50, and then this high candle here at 176.65. We're holding Apple calls because this just looks so bullish. If these plays don't work out, it is what it is. But these are bullish setups, so you have to take these trades. They're high risk, low risk, high reward, in my opinion. And Apple, let's go ahead and fill that out. Yeah, bullish MACD, bullish RSI, and we closed above resistance. So there's that. Let's go ahead and take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft did not close above resistance. All right, but the MACD is bullish and the RSI is also bullish, but we failed close above 300.9. So, but this, I mean, again, like this was a huge pop up. Overall, the market looks very bullish regardless. Go ahead and do that. And below resistance. Cool. So as you can see, we're starting to get like a lot of, good data potentially. So it'll be pretty good. We could track all that. Google did not close above resistance either. It didn't reclaim the trend line. Had a bit of a red day, but again, it's because Google just had a huge run up. They announced the stock split. A lot of volatility for both Google and Amazon at the moment. So I'm not going to take as much. Amazon did close above resistance, but that's fine. So anyway, the MACD, super bullish, right? We closed green clearly, right? But the MACD is still falling, and the RSI is basically staircasing upwards, which is a pretty bullish sign as well. Means that there's explosive move to the upside potential for Google as well. So let's go ahead and fill that out. Google had a bullish MACD, had a bullish RSI, but it closed below resistance. All right, so Amazon. Closed above resistance. Bearish MACD. We just closed, we just crossed down below. And the RSI is basically staircasing upward. So usually what I say is, so look guys, so usually what I say is if the MACD is falling, yet the price of the stock is moving upwards, that's considered a bullish sign, right? But technically, because it's only the first day that we crossed down below, algorithms look for that, right? So I'm not going to say, oh, basically the crossover. They look for a crossover to the downside. And the fact that this happened is technically not bullish. If we were falling and it was not crossed down below, that would be bullish. But the fact that we crossed down below the yellow MACD line is not the most bullish. All right, so RSI looks bullish. We closed above resistance, but the MACD is not bullish. So let's go ahead and do that. MACD bearish. Closed above resistance, and the RSI is bullish. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Tesla. Tesla closed above multiple levels of resistance. We have a important level of resistance here at 925, essentially 925.25. But we closed above the 20 exponential moving average, and we closed above these two key levels of resistance here at about 910. So overall, that's a very bullish close for Tesla. The RSI is moving upwards. The MACD is also really showing a lot of explosive potential to the upside as well. So overall, everything is bullish for Tesla as well. Now we should definitely take a look at what the heck is going on with the bonds, because the bonds are not bullish. So the bonds are clear. I mean, we haven't closed yet, but I mean, this is clearly not bullish. The MACD is clearly not bullish either. And the RSI is also not bullish. So everything on the bonds looks terrible. So let's go. So essentially, I mean, if this really starts to crack down below, yet we see the strength in the equities, tracking all of this data is going to be important, because we're going to see, the bonds all look terrible, but the equities market all looks super bullish. Where is the discrepancy? So that's the main, this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to start tracking this data. So we're falling down below this very important level of support here at 150.21, yet the entire equities market is skyrocketing. So it's very interesting. So let's go ahead and fill out everything bearish for the 30-year bond. And it looks like we're going to crack down below support. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting. If we continue falling lower, then there's not really much support left until about 149.30. So we could, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting. But when the equities give such an amazing buy opportunity, it's tough to just say no based off of the weakness in the bonds, because the weakness in the bonds haven't been properly correlated the last few times that we saw the extreme strength in the equities. So that's why it makes sense to take a stab at things, right? So there's that for the bonds. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the SPX strength out of the NASDAQ, all right? So clearly the MACD on the NASDAQ looks very similar to Apple. All right, we're basically flat here, right? It's starting to be bullish, right? It went from negative 6.96 to negative 6.79. So it's increasing ever so slightly. Yet we had a big move to the upside, a 2.49% increase. All right, we clearly closed above this resistance. We reclaimed it at 353.60, right? And we also closed above this 38.2% fib at 355.56. As well as the fact that we closed above the 20 exponential moving average. So bullishly closed price action wise. All right. The RSI looks bullish as well. It's moving upwards. And the MACD looks bullish. So everything on the NASDAQ looks bullish. The Bollinger Bands are starting to, squeeze down below. Also, the lower Bollinger Band is starting to move upwards, right? So that means that there could have been like an intermediate bottom here. And overall, the entire NASDAQ also looks very, very bullish. All right. So, for an honorary mention, we could look at Facebook. So what I was saying for Facebook, right? So I bought into, I alerted Facebook. I bought into Facebook because the rest of the market just looked very, very strong, right? And because we were holding this level of support really, really well, the 215 level. So now what needs to happen on Facebook is obviously we need to continue going upwards, right? But this MACD, right? This blue MACD line needs to continue moving on upwards. And what needs to happen is we need to become very, very overbought on the MACD so that this yellow MACD line, as you can see, the yellow MACD line is moving downwards, right? What we want to see, make the RSI smaller. What we want to see is this yellow MACD line start to trend upwards. And the only way that's going to happen is if we start to become very, very overbought on this blue MACD line. So, tons of strength in the overall equities market. All of the indicators basically pointed bullishly as well. Tons of strength in the indices. Also, I mean, we're going to go over Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks really, really strong as well. So this was, in my opinion, it was worth taking the trade. We got into, I think, 245 calls. Yeah, 245 calls for April. And we're just going to hold these because, if we end up, skyrocketing, this is going to be a really, really good buy, in my opinion. So I think we did catch a good few plays, in my opinion. So there's that for the overall equities market, the stock market, the bonds and everything. And now let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. All right, guys. So from the last few things that we looked over together, right? I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to just tell me what everything looks like here. The MACD, the RSI, and whether we're closing above or below resistance. Everything looks bullish. The MACD is still oversold. We haven't even crossed up yet. Yet the price action of Bitcoin is crossing upwards. Super, super bullish. The RSI is not yet even overbought, which is another really, really good sign. Means that there's tons more room to the upside. Let me figure that. All right. So RSI looks bullish. MACD still looks very, very bullish. And it looks like we're about to close above resistance. So all in all, I'm going to update the sheet at, in 2.5 hours to see if we closed above this level of resistance here. But even, the fact that we closed above this 43,500 level, that's going to be the main level of resistance. If we can close above that in the next 2.5 hours, that's going to be very, very bullish. And right now, it looks like that is the case. All right. So overall, the entire market. Yeah. So the entire market looks very, very bullish. All right. You can see that all of the, this is much easier to show, so everything, all of the metrics we have, everything looks really, really bullish in the equities market. The bonds are the main bearish factor. All right. And obviously Amazon and Google, because of the crazy earnings and stock split volatility. Also Microsoft. So, overall, everything looks, in general, most of the things look very, very bullish. 30-year bonds obviously don't look bullish, but we have to take, shoot or shoot. Okay, so we have to take these chances because they are low risk, high reward trade setups. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to follow me on Twitter. I post all of my trades live completely for free. We're gonna go over this stuff basically every day now. We're gonna track whether this is actually working. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy. and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.